I almost destroyed my computer over the weekend.
Doing what? Would you like move a giant magnet right next to it or something?
Mm-mm. So I think I might have mentioned this that like I was having a USB problem, and occasionally like my camera would have issues. The camera didn't want to display, so on and so forth. And I kept getting this USB issue. And I'm like, but it didn't matter what the device was. Occasionally you'd plug something in, and it was just having issues. And it was at its worst this weekend because I was like trying to do some homework, I'm taking some classes, and I'm like, this is the worst time for my keyboard and mouse to just be deciding to be off. But the thing that started tipping me off, I'm like, okay, different segments of the USB are going off. So I'm like, okay. So is it USB controller or something like that? But so there's the PS2 or PS/2 where you could like plug in, put something in through there. And I had this little adapter, and I had been using that for my light. For like just to, put light on. It's like, hey, I don't have another I have another USB port, but hey, I'll save a spot. That doesn't need data, right? It's drawing too much power. Is what it is.
Okay.
That is drawing too much. As soon as I stopped doing that, I have not had the notification come up once. I have turned this thing on and off, rebooted, tried USB ports in different spots. Haven't had an issue. So I know it's not a USB port, and I don't know where it is on the power rail of the board, but I think that's what I think if I had just put a keyboard or a mouse into that spot and used that adapter, it would have been fine. But because I choose to use a light, I bet it was drawing way too much.
Okay. It's probably like unregulated or something, and it's yoinking tons of energy. Or it's doing one of those things where like it says it's pulling this much, but it's actually pulling this much.
Yeah. So like I was worried because my USB drives are attached to it. I'm like,
that would have been bad.
All right. This week on State of the Nerd Union, we'll discuss the bombshell news from Sony and Bungie. That's in direct response to Microsoft Xbox's pending Activision acquisition. We have our impressions of Pokemon Legends Arceus. Well, we saw Jerry play it, so
Yeah, and we were kind of paying attention while he was doing
it. And for all you Wordle fans out there, we'll discuss what the impending purchase by the New York Times will mean for all those rabid players. All that and more, starting now. Now.
Wait for it. Now.
All right. Words, things. I'm supposed to be saying things. Hello, nerds. Welcome to the State of Nerd Union live show, broadcasting live to you every Monday night at 8 p.m. Central here on Facebook, Twitch, and YouTube. I'm one of your hosts, Commandership. You can follow me on TikTok, Facebook, and Twitch if you like. Follow that handle. I'm joined by my co-host, Imminent Doom X, who you can also follow over on Twitch at that handle as well. How you doing today, Doom?
I'm doing pretty good. I've been playing a whole bunch of Binding of Isaac, and actually going through a bunch of the content that came out after they released, tons and tons and tons of stuff a couple of months ago. And I was really salty because I had almost gotten back to 100%ing the game for a second time before they added about 220 something achievements. So I'm working my way through that. I'll probably start streaming it soon. So if you're a big Binding of Isaac fan and you want to watch somebody be good at video games, whenever that happens, go follow me on Imminent Doom X over on Twitch, and when it happens, you'll get the notification. So there you go. How about you, Kenny? How you doing?
Doing good. I had a good weekend. I was house hunting. Put in an offer, got rejected.
But you need a big gun to hunt houses.
Yeah, just give me a railgun. I'll hit it. I'll hit it from orbit. God, I bet that would sound great. And again, and then played some Halo with y'all. Well, not
Yep.
with y'all, but in conjunction. So that was good.
Mm-hmm.
So
Nice.
overall, good weekend. Yeah. For folks that don't know, this show was gonna be short. I didn't. It feels like it happens every couple of weeks. There's gonna be one show that is just like, oh yeah, I got like. I should just
A
stop
handful of
expecting it. I
things.
should just stop expecting it because it's like if I got 4 things, something's about to drop. It probably
Mm-hmm.
makes it been too quiet and everyone's waiting on until Monday to just put everything out. So like literally in the last or when I was writing the script around
Mm-hmm.
3 o'clock, just these things like cascaded. Like I saw the Sony thing, Taryn
Mm-hmm.
who's online in the chat dropped some extra stuff, which you won't. Some of that we won't get to today, but hey, Stan, we made an announcement last week, which I'll reinforce right now. We're trying to shoot extra episodes that won't all be live just because we were busy. We have day jobs and so on and so forth, but we are definitely going to try to shoot some extra videos and let you know what's happened during the week. So that includes like Terrence rundown, some extra just quick snippets of not a full show, but just like, hey, like if the Sony thing we're getting ready to talk about had happened tomorrow, I might just jump on for 5 minutes and say, hey, here's what's going on. But yeah, let's do the quick hits. And as I teased in the intro, pop, pop. Hey, have you been playing Wordle?
I am not. I decided that I was an old person who didn't like new things right when Twitter came out. So I don't do new things and I don't have fun.
Yeah, I feel that. I tried doing that for about a month. Or has it even been out a month? No. I definitely saw it long enough to be like, nah. And I eventually gave in. But then also I was like, is this it? Like, are y'all struggling with this? So then did the hard mode, and then it was finally like, challenge. Got it.
Cool. So I really appreciate it when games that have a hard mode are actually difficult. Yeah. Sometimes it's like, oh yeah, like everybody's like, I'm having a hard time with this, and it's like, okay, well let me try. I'm like, oh, is this the easy mode? It's like, no, this is hard mode. I'm like, oh, do they have more? Do you unlock like very hard mode once you beat hard mode, and then it's like, I don't know, I can't beat it. So then that's the quest.
Yeah, my thing was like in easy mode, you only need a couple words to then narrow it down. Like if you could play almost the same 2 or 3 words every single time, and then you'll know what's left. You know what you've gone through. Some of those are going to probably hit, so it shortens your time to do it. So I was just like, what is the challenge here? But at least hard mode makes you have to repeat letters and make you have to continue guessing. So that limits your ability to find more information.
Gotcha.
So I'm like, cool, got it.
There you go.
Anyway, but the craze caught the attention of the New York Times. And, ow, man, I had this nice little intro and I completely skipped it.
Too late.
No, I can still do it. What's a 5-letter word for wanting a piece of another company?
Do you want to say it or do you want me to read it? Because I'm reading the notes too. So
yeah.
It's a slice. And the New York Times has purchased the popular browser-based puzzle game Wordle. Yoink.
Yeah, thank you. I appreciate it. Makes me feel good. Hey, if I'm going to turn up this time,
it was a good setup.
Jokes, we're gonna get these transitions out. Transitional segues.
Yep. I was like, wait, do you want me? Is this the setup, and then you're gonna say it, or do you want me to say
it? We should work on that. That could be cool. That could be good. So some things that the reason people immediately got concerned is that over the last since 2012, New York Times has had a premium crossword. So they always put a crossword out in their print and digital editions, but sometimes they don't really do a new crossword. It might be one they've done in the past that gets onto the print or classic edition on the digital. Whereas if you paid it extra, starting from 2012, if you paid an extra amount, you would get an opportunity to do the premium crossword, always getting a new crossword every day. And you also had access to the archive of crosswords. So if you missed one, you could also do that. So people were a little concerned that buying Wordle meant they were going to just throw it behind a paywall. as far as we understand right now, based on New York Times' own reporting announcing that they bought it, and with other outside media, it seems like it'll, at least for now, be free. And to be clear, there are other puzzles outside the crossword that are also free on New York Times, like their Sudoku, their daily Sudoku. Sorry, Sudoku puzzle being a regular free puzzle. So it's not a guarantee that Wordle, even despite how popular it is going to immediately become a premium puzzle. But that is a legitimate concern for sure.
I mean, the answer is like 100% yes. Of course they are. They're not going to spend all this money to buy an application and then just be like, yeah, we'll just keep it to be free because I don't like money. Like, of course they're going to charge you. But I mean, like, it's probably not going to be that much. And puzzles are fun. So if you like the game, maybe you should pay for it a little bit.
Yeah, a little bit, because it's like completely free. Like, gosh darn.
Yeah, there's a bunch of games. My policy on, free games has changed over the years to the effect of like, yo, man, somebody spending the time to make this thing that you like, no matter how little effort it takes them to do it, like, you should give them a little bit of money if it's something that you enjoy doing and you play it for a couple of hours, or you get a couple of hours over the lifetime of it of enjoyment out of it. Just give them like $5. If somebody said, yo, I'm gonna sit and I'm gonna talk to you for 20 hours and it's gonna be a good time, I'd be like, all right, I'll give you at least $5. That seems worth.
Yeah. So we know it was sold for a 7-figure amount, though we don't know what the exact amount is. That has not been disclosed at this moment.
I bet it has a bunch of zeros in it.
I bet it does.
I'm gonna wager that it's mostly zeros.
At least 6 zeros.
Like, you might be able to convince me it's 5, but it's still mostly zeros.
Mm-hmm. All right, that's it for the quick hits. But this next cinephile moment, Steve, Doom might want to take this one.
It's me, Doom, and me, Steve. So moving into the cinephiles, so the Mortal Kombat sequel's coming forward with the Moon Knight scribe Jerry Slater. While the latest reboot of Mortal Kombat was a modest box office success for the Warner Brothers, it performed way better on HBO Max. The production company New Line Cinema greenlit the sequel pretty much immediately after the big public reception, positive reaction. And this is the first update that we've had since the first entry was released. I remember we reported like a long time ago, when shortly after the movie came out, that they were like, "Yep, we're doing Mortal Kombat 2. Like, it's happening." And hopefully they listen to all the memes and all the fans, which is that we don't want cinematic garbage like music soundtrack. We want 90s Euro. What's that? Like Euro techno pop.
Mortal Kombat.
What's the other one? Industrial music. There you go. That's the sound of Mortal Kombat.
I would even take some 90s house. I would also.
Maybe. I mean, honestly, if you just paid everybody who they use the song, because not all the songs that were in the original Mortal Kombat films, particularly Annihilation, were like written for the movie. Some of them were just songs that bands wrote, and they were like, "Yo, this song slaps. Can I put this in this movie?" Like, if you just pay them again to be like, "Hey, Revenstein, you want to put together another recording of I don't know how to pronounce that song. You want to put another recording of this song together or whatever?" I'm like, "Yeah, man, we'll do a 2022 recording of this. That sounds cool." I mean, I feel like we nailed it the first time, but we'll record it again. It'll sound crisper. But yeah, like for the Mortal Kombat film, it's like, all they need to do is unkill Kung Lao, and then have dope music and like just give us more of the same, and it'll probably be good. Maybe a little bit less focus on the bronze kneecap, but it'll be good.
Yeah, it's probably for the best. All right, continuing our. I've been on record of like I enjoyed it, but I was like, this has got problems. Like,
yeah, it's a little bad, but it's a lot of fun.
But the writer is interesting,
mm-hmm.
because, like, I would say like Godzilla King of the Monsters isn't like a great movie, but the script helps at least like, okay, these things make sense. You maybe executed them a little weird way, but hey, I got my big monster fighting. I got Ghidorah and Godzilla fighting. That's all I
It's like
need.
we all know what the human parts of any Godzilla story are there for. It's just a vehicle. It's just I'm just killing time before the monsters show up and do what they gonna do because you're not really a factor in how that goes down.
So I think bringing him in to help write could help shore up some of the issues I had in the first movie, and just make the flow as we get between action sequences even better. So, yeah, I mean, I'm gonna watch Mortal Kombat regardless.
Oh yeah, absolutely, 100%.
It's just one of those check mark ones. Like I'll watch it. And I think the other thing that hurt is I got this just deceived by how good that intro was. When Sub-Zero first comes in, it's just murking people in the village, and it's like, you're like, God,
yeah.
And then it didn't feel the same after that.
Yeah, it was one of those moments where the movie is sandwiched by like the two best fight choreography sequences that the film has, and like there were other good segments throughout the film, but like nothing that's like
right.
comparable.
And like the last fight was that cage one, right?
Yes, with the bronze kneecap, Sub-Zero, and
was a Scorpion.
Or Hanzo. Yeah, that was the.
Oh, right, because he had the whole.
He has the armor. It's like, you know, like the memes were like, oh man, it's like you gave me a Mortal Kombat move and you give me Kung Lao and Liu Kang and everybody else, and it's like you expect me. I'm like expecting to have like this. I'm like this big like Liu Kang or Kung Lao movement or moment, and instead you get the bronze kneecap. And also, I can't remember his name anymore, so I think it's Cole something. So I've just been calling him
Cole. I don't remember his last name. Yes, but Cole.
Yeah.
For some reason, that stuck into the crawl.
Yeah. But speaking of popular things coming back, we also have Percy Jackson series, which is a go over at Disney Plus. So at some point we previously reported that Rick Riordan, is that close?
Riordan or something like
was slated to help return and help produce the Percy Jackson series show. Expressing to the fans that the director James Bobbin really wanted to get it right for the Olympians, which is what the fans of the Percy Jackson series tend to call themselves. Apparently there's a bunch of different sects and names that the fans utilize for themselves.
And
but yeah, Percy Jackson TV show.
Some of them call themselves Half-Bloods, which I found very problematic.
That's a little. I'm gonna follow that under no.
The demigods. I was like, okay, all right. Or sometimes like, some would call them like sons and daughters of pick a deity, which that's not surprising. That's not even like a Percy Jackson thing. Some people do that. Like Greek mythology.
Yeah.
Oh, cool.
That's a little complicated. They need to be more unified on the front. Olympians is probably the best name.
Yeah.
Best TV show.
But hey, that's not necessarily a fan base I'm super tapped into, but I'm excited for them to get an adaptation that they feel better represents the books, having an author more involved this time around, and having a director that seems like they really care about it. It's dope. So
yep,
yeah. Hopefully that works out.
Moving on down into game time.
You
want to take the first one, Kenny?
I certainly will. Alice in Wonderland, which is not a Disney property as much as people try to pitch and like, stop that. Lewis Carroll wrote books, people. I know you watched the animated and the new Johnny Depp Helena Bottom Carter thing. But it's not Disney. They don't own it.
They just made a movie about it. It's not the same.
Movie about it. You know. That said, there's a rather dark interpretation of Alice, and people are like, yeah, but a lot of people did that. Like, nah, this it was an Alice and then Alice Madness Returns. I played them on the PS3. I at least have the first one. I don't think I have the second one. But really, really interesting games. It's been again. I can't give you a really good impression right now because it's been a while since I played it, so I don't remember how much I enjoyed it. But made by American McGee, you've probably seen a lot of his other PC games as well, and interesting aesthetic. And the writer they're bringing it. So one, this is being turned into a TV series, and the writer they're bringing in has a lot of video game chops and has written some fantastic nerd movies himself. So the voice of Solid Snake, David Hayter, is coming in to write on this series. He also, and people get surprised, people forget this, but like he wrote X1, the X-Men movie, X2,
Oh wow.
Zack Snyder's Watchmen. And even if you don't necessarily like Zack Snyder, like I think the script for that movie is really, really solid. I think that's I also think that's one of Snyder's better films. So I would defend them on that one. Like I think that's pretty much better films. But Hader is the writing behind a lot of that. So he doesn't do a ton of writing, but when he does write something,
it's solid.
It's very good. So if he says he's like, hey, I'm down for this one, I would keep an eye on it. Yeah.
Alrighty. Sliding on down, we got Nintendo once again hits YouTube channel with hundreds of DMCA strikes. This is not the first time they've done this. They've done this quite recently. I believe the most recent one that was popularized at the very least was a big YouTuber who does a whole bunch of work like reviewing games and other sorts of stuff, content that was back in, I want to say like early December, real early December. There's a whole bunch of stuff that goes into why DMCA striking or copyright striking, like YouTube stuff, sucks, because YouTube does not at all do a good job of of that review process. It takes a really, really long time, and they just don't prioritize it. But and I was freaking out when I first read this, but it's YouTuber Gilvia Sunner, not to be confused with Sylvia Gunner. This is one of their other pages. Received 1,300 strikes on their page that required them to remove a substantial part of their library. And while Nintendo is well within their right to have infringing content removed, it's especially damning right now when the ability to even purchase, let alone stream, Nintendo music is highly limited. Like they keep a cap on that kind of stuff pretty well. It's a massive pain because there's not the music isn't necessarily readily accessible anywhere. They're not releasing tons of albums, and there's an easy way for you to go listen to the Luigi's Mansion OST or something like that. We kind of take for granted that somebody somewhere will rip the files off of the disc and then put them into a video on YouTube, and it'll be there forever, and that's totally fine. Like at any given time, like any company can be like, no, you can't do that because I don't want you to, and and then it doesn't have to be because I'm going to release an album that I want to make money off of, blah blah blah. They can just do it. They're allowed to because it's their property. It's something that we take for granted, and it definitely sucks, especially when in cases like Nintendo where they just remove stuff and they have no plans whatsoever to make it available to the public. So yeah, this is probably more so one of the latter cases.
I would understand if it were going to be like we actually are about to drop everything and put it on Spotify, put it on our, or it's like you can't get on Spotify but you can buy it on our site and stuff like that, and be like, yeah, sure, pain in the ass, but that you decided that's how you wanted to go about it and you put the files in a place that's accessible. I feel this surprisingly, this is the same way I feel about backwards compatibility ROMs and emulators of anytime there's a pushback against the ROM community or what they've done there. It's sure, Nintendo, you're right. There are definitely some people in here that are just using it, grabbing ROMs they don't own, whatever. Sure. And I know that technically by the legal definition is against the law. Sure. Got you. But if you don't do anything to help with preservation, I don't care.
Yeah.
I know last week I just gave you kudos for the Pokemon FPS because I was like, yeah, that was a little that yeah. I was like that was and not even 7 days, not even a week. Not even a week later.
Mm-hmm.
I'm already back on your case about something else.
Yep.
Actually, maybe the Pokemon FPS is what got them all riled up. And
they're like, everybody back onto the internet. We need to cut some stuff down. And it's basically like, if you're like Sega, for example, is an excellent example of a company that like does a lot for preservation. Like Super Hang On, one of their popular arcade games, which later got ported to home consoles and then to like PC Smash Pack type stuff later. Like small racing game with six tracks to give a damn about. And that got a 20th anniversary remaster album re-release. Like you could buy a physical album to put onto a record player to play that music if you wanted to. And like Sega's released tons and tons and tons of their music on Spotify for people to listen to. It's like Nintendo,
yes,
like they're not working that same angle like at all.
you could listen to Space Channel 5, Jet Grind Radio, Jet Set Radio Future. You just kind of go down the laundry list. And like, and honestly, the only ones that have issues are ones that just maybe have a studio that like published something on Sega. And like that particular studio has a problem, not Sega itself. Like, or heck, even if we're not talking about the soundtracks, but just like even like the game, like the classic one, probably not Phantasy Star, Panzer Dragoon Saga, which has a long history, just a code issue why we can't get a remake or a remaster of that. But yeah, Nintendo, come on now. Come on now.
They do a lot of good, and they also do probably maybe not an equal amount of bad, but like definitely a non-negligible amount of stupid.
And I also want to clarify to back up Gilva Sunder's channel. They definitely were not monetizing these videos, so this was just more of just definitely like a public service of like, I know you don't have access to these. A lot of people don't have access to these, so I'm putting them all out so that people can be able to listen to this music. Gosh, I really worry about the other Nintendo sites, the other Nintendo YouTube channels and the folks that got the lo-fi Nintendo sites. I'm surprised those haven't got brand free as well, but maybe those are different enough to where the fair use applies.
The problem is, even if the fair use applies, the YouTube system for dealing with DMCA copyright strikes is absolute garbage. Like, it is not at all content creator friendly because YouTube doesn't want it to be, because it behooves them to do what companies want, because YouTube is the adult in the room when it comes to, digital video content. So they're like, no, if the company says whatever, then that's what we're going to do. And we'll get around to reviewing your stuff whenever we get around to it.
Never.
Yeah, it's bad. But let's see. Moving on down. Oh, this one's all you. So
our illustrious CEO, Kyle Nelson, posted on Twitter today that he watched the Halo trailer. And I was like, did I miss one? Oh yeah, new one. So I knew I dropped. And he said it was the most hilarious thing he'd ever seen. And I was like,
Nani?
What? Yeah, Nani? So I got into it and I'm like, oh, okay. Yeah, I get what you're saying. It's okay. As a Halo fan, am I gonna watch it? Sure. Like, that's not even. Come on. I've watched every Halo little mini film that's ever come. Like, yeah, or piece of that. Yeah, that's. Come on. Who are you talking to?
It's like the Doom movie. It's like the Doom movie with Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson. I know it's bad, but it has The Rock in it, and it's a video game movie.
We're gonna watch it.
I watch it every time it comes on TV.
But that said, it looks like it's set in the Power Rangers universe. Like, production values in some places, like Chief Suit, they definitely paid attention. Like, give him kudos. Chief Suit looks good.
It does look good.
Give him that. A lot of the other stuff looks looks rough. So, and the acting, at least from what I can see from the trailer, was questionable. So, to Kyle's point, I'm like, that was a little funny. Maybe when we actually get into it, it will be endearing. And to that Power Rangers point though, if it's not like the bloody, and it's not that Halo's ever really, even Halo being rated mature, I always thought was kind of weird because it's not. They never really showed a bunch of blood or anything like that. So if it ends up being like a Power Rangers level per se, to where a lot of people can makes it more accessible. And maybe this thing is even dropped on Saturdays or something where kids have the weekend off to go watch it. That actually might track. So maybe this isn't actually aimed, even though it's might be aimed at gamers. It might be aimed at a different, maybe even a younger
different age
demographic.
Range.
Yeah.
So, because like, if you aim it a little bit like lower, like kids ain't got money, so it's like you have to appeal to like the older folks on some level, and like the appeal to the older folks on some level is we made a Halo movie, and it's like if you like Halo, you probably gonna go to watch it, but like you gonna go see it no matter what. So it's like you got to appeal to little kids too, so you can, or not little kids, but the younger generation, so you can kind of rope them in too and make it a little bit more accessible. Like you can't go, the whole movie's gonna be in first person or some stuff.
Well, shout out to Dune for giving us that first person perspective. What is next? Oh, I think it's you.
Yep. So next up, we got this one. This one is actually a little bit old, but I wanted to make sure we hit on it anyway. So Elden Ring release is pushed back. If you've been sitting and waiting for Elden Ring, I'm sure you know already. Originally, it was scheduled to release on January 21st, and now it's scheduled to release on February 24th. But there's no further delays expected. But it's game development, so we'll see. I mean, if you remember Cyberpunk 2077, there was no further problems expected. But remember, they got pushed back a bunch of times.
Probably should have,
because it needed. So, but if it comes out, then cool. If not, then I got a whole catalog of other stuff to play, so it ain't no big deal for me. Last up in the game time segment, we had the Ludwig Arjun Championship Series 4, the LACS Melee Tournament, which just happened this past week and wrapped up. I think that was Sunday, around midday afternoon. I'm not going to go through like the whole roster because they had, I think it was 1,200 people sign up for the tournament. It's free to sign up. I can't remember what the prize pool was. But yeah, so for the, what was it? In the final singles, for folks who know everybody, I'm not going to go through and talk about who's who and all that other stuff. If you know the names, cool. If you don't worry about it. It's top level melee folks.
What if I didn't?
Well, then you can go on Twitch and you can watch them play, and it's some wild stuff watching professional melee players play. So in the final singles, we had Mango and Zane, who both came through from the winners bracket, joined by Pulp and Maki from the losers bracket. Maki, playing as Fox, defeated Pulp, who played as Sheik for all their matches, 3-1 in the best of 5, in order to match up with Zane as Marth, who swept Mango as Fox in the winners final. So Zane moved on to like the grand finals because he won his winners match. So then it's losers bracket stuff. Then we had Mango as Falco moving into the losers from his fight with Zane to face Maki as Fox. And Mango won 3-1 with victory there. And then he moved back in to fight Zane again. After winning the losers final for the grand final matchup, Mango played. I think he picked like Fox twice and Falco once against Zane's Marth, who again swept him one more time, winning with Zane winning 3-0 sweep in their best of 5 matches. But yeah, I watched like the last couple matches with a friend of mine, and it was really good. Like it was like the number of bonkers top tier plays, and like the casters are having casters and talk about what's going on and stuff is all cool, but also having a friend who is like mid tier, like explain like, okay, so here's like the technical stuff of what's happening, and I'm like the tightness of like the execution all around, and like the reads that happen, and like the mix ups and the 50-50s that are properly read is just totally bonkers. And I'm like, the number of times where I'm like, I understand most of what's happening, but there's a couple times where I'm like, I'm not entirely sure how that worked, but it's amazing that you pulled it off, flipped it into a combo, and then took away a stock all in one swift move. But yeah, totally dope stuff. But
thank you for folks joining us in the chat, Undyne, and oh snap, Chunk Mangione. Oh man, I like that. I like that tag. If y'all don't know Chuck Mangione, y'all better go check him out. But sorry, that's a clever. Sorry, I love a good clever username. That's nice.
He's hanging out in the Megalomart squad.
And Lone H is now following. Thanks a lot. We appreciate that. All right. So that's all for game time. And then we got some tech to talk super quick. And this one, and check the tech. We love King of the Hill. There you go.
We do love King of the
Hill. That's good. So this one just upsets me because I have to admit I've gotten got, especially on Facebook Marketplace. And I'll put this out as a thing to watch for. If you are ever buying on Facebook Marketplace, it has been getting flooded with scams. I mean, it is just, and especially as a game collector, I know sometimes you see something and you're like, it might be too good. It might be too good to be true, but maybe I gotta try. I gotta try. And you
Earthbound for $5. What?
But the thing is, like, okay, here's how you at least can tell if something is too good to be true. They're probably not a gamer. That's probably, and I don't mean that to be mean or anything. I'm saying, but they probably aren't someone that's going to go look at, I don't know, eBay or price charting to put their games up and be like, oh, this is what they get. If they think it's just their kid's plaything, and they're like, oh, okay, I'll just list this, whatever, then that might be legit. Then it's just like, hey, it's a yard sale. I'm just trying to get rid of my kid's stuff from college. But then that's probably true. If it's something else, stay away. Mm-hmm. Stay away. Why am I bringing all that up? Like, and it's not just, honestly, this is not just going to apply to Facebook Marketplace. I use that as an example, but this is bigger than that. So the Federal Trade Commission, or FTC, released a report detailing a number of losses that occurred on social media platforms. So scammers, at least from the reports from the FTC just last year, made $770 million from Facebook users, reaching new highs compared to previous years. Damn. It's almost a $500 million jump between the previous reporting that had happened in 2020. Whether that was because people had maybe more stimulus checks or maybe had some more time at home to look at games or variety of items. I focus on gaming, but it's a variety of items.
It's just it's more folks staying at home during the pandemic, more suckers on the internet.
Yeah.
Hot singles in my area?
Yeah. So a variety of scams involved romance traps or catfishes, impersonations, tricking family members, cryptocurrency scams, or not delivering on a good or service on Facebook Marketplace, social media DM. So maybe someone reaches out to you with a deal that you could be reached out about, stuff like that. So
whoa, that's different. A scam, I feel like a scam is different than just stealing from somebody.
Oh, okay. So wait, what do you mean?
Because if somebody like, so hold up.
And maybe this is where I need to explain the Facebook Marketplace thing in more and more detail.
Well, like not delivering a good or service I guess ultimately all scams do that, but like just straight up fleecing somebody feels more like a heist than a scam. Like they're both theft under the theft umbrella, but that feels more like a heist than a scam.
Okay, but to me, the scam is that they are using. All right, so here's where I want to make the distinction. So I just said about the like too good to be true
Yeah,
and
yeah.
like getting secondary, but there's a thing on Facebook Marketplace, and this is why people need to be very clear. And the thing that's frustrating is that even people that are verified,
Mm-hmm.
I can't honestly, I don't want to even say here on the internet that being a verified Facebook Marketplace dealer means anything because it may not. And there's no guarantee that Facebook's going to pay back what they're supposed to. But what you definitely should not do is in Facebook Marketplace or any like community group is even send. Don't, for the love of God, don't send money to someone that is like on a Venmo or something that's maybe you met through Facebook Marketplace and you haven't confirmed that you were like in the vicinity of the person, see the object, and are going to be able to get the object that you're paying for.
Mm-hmm.
Like, but that's where the little distinction between verified and non-verified can be problematic because definitely non-verified if you're asking you to do something
It's a little
like that.
fuzzy.
Yeah. Now that doesn't mean there aren't well-meaning people like, hey, I got a couch, $50, meet me at so and so's, that's whatever this address is, pay the $50, you get your couch. That happens all the time. That's legit. It's just there's certain items, a PS5 for $400.
Yeah,
Unverified
it's
on
the
Facebook
same. It's the
Marketplace.
regular stuff. It's the regular
Don't do
stuff.
that.
You go when somebody comes in at a Walmart and they're like, "Yo, my PS5 doesn't work. I want a refund." You have to open the box because there's a 40% chance that box
There's
is full of
potatoes.
rocks. I was gonna say it's full of rocks.
Potatoes won't sound as jiggly though.
True. You
Don't
got
ask
you
me
have
why I
more
know
open
that.
space. But it's like you got to open the box. You have to confirm that this is the thing. When you buy electronics, you want to make sure that you're someplace. It's like the same stuff that they used to do at GameStop when you were a little kid, where it's like, oh, you want to sell Pokemon Yellow? Well, we got to put it in the Game Boy and turn it on and make sure that it works. And you got to do the same thing. It's due diligence. Otherwise, you open up you open up your PS5 and it's like, oh wait, this isn't PS5. This is a cake. Damn.
Darn, it got me again.
Always has been.
It's like this was a cake. Always has been.
Oh,
Lenny
man.
Fitness says, "Why do you know that? Don't be in my business. You don't know my life. Maybe I have to use like some
Kenny can
Indian."
approximate the weight of any item and how many potatoes it approximately weighs. Like,
Assuming it's a console I picked up.
this Super Nintendo feels about 3-4 potatoes light. Oh man! But speaking of things that are definitely not cake or potatoes, company Meta freed Facebook. I don't know if they still resolved that whole name theft thing.
I think they're just doing.
I think they're just stealing it. I guess they're just stealing it. Anyway,
I wish I could do that.
you
like,
just
IGN. I'm just gonna steal your URL. Yeah,
you made this. I made this. So Facebook drops their stablecoin association from DM. So from TechCrunch, the DM Association Consortium is a consortium of companies that work on a blockchain-based payment system, and they're selling their technology assets to Silvergate for $200 million, and they hope to recover some of their assets. So the long and short of it is that basically Facebook purchased this company to try and get into the cryptocurrency vibe. Or the gravy train that's currently going on. However, there's a whole bunch of problems. Basically, they wanted to use this structure that banks and like regulators like had a bunch of problems with, and they thought that like this system known as Libra would compete with sovereign currencies with a whole bunch of macroeconomic problems. So not even microeconomics, but just money as a whole, and that they were worried that people would just use them to just launder tons of amounts of money. Then they changed the idea to try to have like a 1-to-1 ratio, based on like whatever they described as stable coins. So like a Libra USD US dollar would be worth $1 US at all times, in the same way for all currency all over the world. But they changed that plan again. Basically, the long and short of it is that is not working up for them, not working out for them, and they're looking to get rid of it to try to recoup some of those losses for their investors by selling off some of their intellectual property. But we just reported
on issues last week. For folks that are curious, did I cut you off? I'm sorry, man.
Well, I was just gonna say there's nothing else with them. I don't really want Facebook to be succeeding in everything. So, if they try to weasel their way into the cryptocurrency game, I'm kind of glad that it doesn't really work out, mostly because of legal problems. So, maybe if you didn't want people to be rejoicing in your failure, then you shouldn't go around stealing companies' names.
Oh, stop. No.
And then I say that and I go back to my Facebook and I can't post anymore.
It's all of a sudden the Facebook broadcast just cut out.
Yeah, right. Zuckerberg is just watching us on Twitch. He's oh, okay.
See if you get to enjoy the metaverse.
When the metaverse comes, you guys are out of it.
And you got the next one? I'll get the next.
Yeah. So moving on down. Little bit of good news, bad news. For those of you who love having your messages private and unreadable by third-party entities, or even second-party entities, Excess Messenger is possibly one of the new things that you'll want to check out. So the latest private messaging app on the scene is stated to be quantum resistant and decentralized. Many of these private messaging apps that are encrypted on both ends and can't be read by even the people who create the application are set up that way. But Excess Messenger is a new private messenger application that was developed by the renowned cryptographer David Chow, who is also known for creating the first popularized proposal for blockchain protocol back in '82, and he developed eCash, which is kind of like the precursor to Bitcoin. But he released it recently, and it's said to be quantum resistant, which basically means when it comes to breaking encryption, modern computers, you make a 20-character password, and it'll take you. It's like when your computer slows down when you're trying to download a file back in 2001. It's this will take 97 years to finish downloading. It'll be fine. So it's with modern computers, it'll take just a sufficiently long period of time where it's not really feasible for them to break into your account for whatever because your password's long. With quantum computing, though, theoretically, achieving those kind of password breaks becomes a much more feasible endeavor. So to create some, and with quantum computing, I haven't been keeping a close tab on quantum computing. Probably
we ain't there yet.
Yeah, we're not there yet.
Look,
I keep abreast of it a little bit.
There's a lot of cool stuff happening.
There is a lot of cool stuff happening, but I haven't been keeping up with it for about the past 2 years or so. But we're getting there. There's some ideas of theoretical quantum computers that are out there, and then in terms of so what can we do with it? You have to create quantum programs and quantum based applications and a whole bunch of stuff. So the theoretical space is there, but as far as what can you do with it? Probably the first thing people will do is try to crack password because it's theoretically, well, at least for me, who hasn't been paying attention to the field for a while, that seems like a low-hanging fruit if you got a quantum computer. But supposedly this application is theoretically quantum resistant, implying that it should protect computers from both modern computers as well as quantum computers by means of an exceptionally sophisticated cryptographical process that I won't go into because I don't mention it and I don't understand it. But
Hey, we don't here at State of Nerd Union. We don't bullshit you on things we don't understand.
Yep. But Chom told Cointelegraph, the news reporting company, that the security of XS Messenger relies on a quote-unquote decentralized mixed net protocol that ensures that even the most determined can't tell who you're talking to. Sounds pretty good to me. The new messenger's cryptography is open source and can be found on his GitHub page. You can find it if you Google it, if you wanted to peruse it and check it out. I haven't, but if I did, I probably still wouldn't understand it because I'm not a cryptographer. So,
Well, so there was a good news, bad news in that, right?
oh yeah, the cryptography is the good news. The bad news is I guess Facebook failing in cryptocurrency is also good news. So yeah, no, the good news, bad news is that the good news is that there's two good newses, and the bad news is TBD. Yeah,
Our segue is broken. That's it.
yeah. My segue modulator got discombobulated.
Yeah,
My bad.
just sitting in the corner, flat tires flat.
Mhm.
You did get a compliment in the chat though. Phone spin, 10 out of 10.
Hey, thanks. Yeah.
Appreciate it. All right. Oh, it's on me. Yeah. So let's see. Well, Google's finally coming out with a smartwatch. There's been a ton of Android smartwatches that are compatible between Apple and Android, but this will be apparently we're getting the first actual Google Watch, and I, for one, am excited, particularly for Pixel owners. But I'm a Samsung lover, so I got my Galaxy Watch. Yeah, that wasn't a good shot. Yeah, let's show it again. Yeah, forearm.
There you go.
And a Galaxy, not just for
folks giving out those free forearm shots, Kenny. Save it for the OnlyFans.
But yeah, apparently it's going to release on May 26th, and that is the release rumor, but we'll let you know if we get any more details on what the actual specs are going to be. Again, as far as watches, like, I'm not saying the space can't be innovated on, but I think we're in a pretty...
we're running a tight ship here. Pretty much.
To
the effect of, like, when it was like, oh man, Google's coming out with a smartwatch. I'm like, what else? I mean, we can already do the spy thing where we talking to our watch. Like, what else could you possibly want from the smartwatch?
Oh, well, if you could pay with your... no, we can already do that. Okay. But what if I get a little music on the watch and play it from my ear? No, we can already do that.
Damn. So close. Dang.
I'm sure I'll think of a use case.
Holograms. If you can put a hologram in your watch and then talk to it like when you're on a phone call, that would be neat. But they probably charge you a whole bunch of money for it, and it's honestly not that cool.
Okay, sidebar. Not to derail, but every time I watch Cinema Sins, he shits on hologram technology in movies. And the more I think about it,
because it never makes sense.
Because it doesn't make sense. Now, if the hologram is like, I don't know if anyone's been watching Star Trek Discovery, we've talked about it on the channel some. Those holograms actually look like legit people are standing in the room, or like Star Trek in general. Cool. That actually, that'd be like being in an AR or VR space, seeing your friend projected.
And there's cameras pointed all around you, and it makes sense like it will actually function.
Yeah. The Star Wars holograms, where you got the little blue thing, like, what is that adding? Mm-hmm. What is that? Okay, I guess
it's mostly it's literally just there so that when you're having a conversation and like normally when the phone would just go dead and like you hear like blaster shots in the distance or whatever, you can just be on a phone call with another Jedi Master and just see them die. It's like, oh man, I don't know if he got out of that situation okay, but the hologram that I can see says that he did not.
Literally happened. Yes, Attack of the Clones. Anakin sees Obi-Wan get smoked, and he's like, "I gotta leave because he told me to stay here, but I gotta go."
I just saw him get dusted, so.
This one is okay. So the next story, and we'll get to Sony and Pokemon, which is
the perfect fusion.
The perfect fusion. No one expected it. So you might have heard about a little 5G kerfuffle. Oh, sorry.
Nice.
We're off the rails. Kerfuffle. Wow. Wow.
I'm inserting that with the Urban Dictionary right now.
A kerfuffle happens with 5G signals at airports. So if you were traveling this holiday season, you might even notice that your signal went considerably down as you were traveling, or even like being in the vicinity of an airport. Long story short, what happened is the FCC, which handles the spectrum of signals across the U.S. and how those are divvied out between like what goes to FM, AM radio stations, digital radio, what goes to like satellite providers, what goes to your cell phone signal, that is a spectrum that's managed by the FCC. 5G works in a particular band of that, and they have been slowly but surely releasing some parts of it. AT&T and Verizon just bought up a bunch of it back in 2019. And in 2020, there was more of it that was expanded. And the FAA, Federal Aviation Administration, said, and this is a legit concern. I know sometimes you're wondering, like, why do we turn our phones off on the airplane? Like, I get that one. That's a totally, like, I get that one. This is legit. It was actively affecting the altimeter. That's how the plane knows how far from the ground it is. And that's important because if you come into LaGuardia in New York and there's a fog over the river and you can't see the landing strip, regardless of how many lights are up, you kind of need to know how far you are from the ground.
A little bit important.
Here's the frustrating piece. As far as I can tell in my research and preparing for this article, preparing to tell you about this, I can't see that AT&T and Verizon were adequately warned or informed about changing their towers and the amount of power is outputting to not affect the airports. And it doesn't seem like the FAA either got to talk to those providers either. And failing probably seems like the likely culprit is if the FCC. So that's why, on top of a bunch of holiday cancellations, there was a real concern that, like, if AT&T and Verizon continue their rollout, they were just going to tell them, like, oh, then we're not flying the planes because there's going to be places that are going into winter storms or going to landing at night, regardless of how bright the landing strip is. It's still at night. That could be a danger. AT&T and Verizon, once they understood the issue or were briefed on it quickly, were like, we can create basically a buffer zone, and we'll use the current 5G towers we're using, and we won't boost the signal, and it will just be like a little bit of a inconvenience, but it won't necessarily be. People still have internet signal, but it just won't be as strong as it could be. So crisis averted in the short term, but as I've researched this, it still doesn't seem like they've come to a consensus on what that buffer zone should continue to be. That was a ad hoc, in the moment, AT&T and Verizon scrambling because apparently, again, as I can tell, no one told them anything. So this is a problem.
That's something that, like, you probably need to get like a number of small teams of people together from all the invested parties, and like, okay, we need to hash out a solution to this and figure out what's feasible. It really should have been done a little bit ahead of time.
Europe's already got zones. Like, they've already developed. Now, the argument made by FCC was that some of the towers that AT&T and Verizon use are generally USA towers, are bigger or stronger. I don't know if that's just hyperbole for people being like, American power. I don't know if that's it. That could be it. I don't know. That's one piece I'll have to continue to research and find out for you. But it's a little frustrating.
Well, oopsie doopsie.
Yeah. Lindy Fitness said the adults in the room effed up. You are right.
Yep.
Okay. So that is it for Check to Tech, and our last three segments. Last three. So our main topics for tonight. Real quick, before we get into Sony and Pokemon, Game Developers Conference, which is a conference held almost annually. I say almost annually because the reports don't necessarily come out annually. Kind of gave a update on the industry and surveyed over 2,700 people that are working in game studios across the industry. And there are some variations on that because they tried to focus as much as they could in the U.S., but some of the studios or some people that participated were in smaller studios. So they attested that some of the workplace harassment things that they has been reported widely in the news, and as we've been reporting here on Monday nights, they just didn't experience because maybe they're on a 4 or 5 person team. Doesn't mean that it can't happen on a smaller team, but just they're saying they haven't witnessed it in that small group, or just weren't privy to anything having happened. But even those outliers of that smaller group set aside, here are some interesting finds from this 10th edition from the GDC about how workplace harassment, what companies are doing about it. So 55% of respondents, again, this is about unionizing to hopefully help protect against that, had increased from 51% to 55% in 2021. Yeah. And actually, let me pull. Sorry, I thought I had everything ready. 62% of respondents said the companies did nothing to engage in conversations around misconduct and toxicity, particularly following last year's explosion of scandals. And as we reported on this channel considerably about Ubisoft and Activision, which big reason we got our eye on Activision is as they go into the Microsoft acquisition, how is that transition going to be handled? And the actual, not just even just the accusations, there's actual legal proceedings happening against Activision. All right. Okay. Yes, but according to the survey, 38% of respondents said employers did take action, and a trend of growing number of workplaces in the industry that have at least taken some initiative to root out toxicity. So at least there is a portion of the workforce that's getting better about that. So I do wish that number was bigger. I wish it would be inverse. So at least that 60% or more were working on active plans or ways to address that. But again, something to take into consideration in that 60% number. Some of that can be the people that are in smaller studios that maybe don't have that issue. And again, not saying that it can't have it, but larger studios can definitely be rife with this because a lot more can get away. You can get away with a lot more in a bigger company than you can in a smaller group. A lot of things can get pushed under the table.
Yeah, they did also mention that there was some resistance from developers. They have a quote here in the Axios article. It will destroy games. Making games is intrinsically hard. I'm not saying that it needs to be cruel, but if you aren't playing with blood, sweat, and tears, then you probably aren't hitting your real ambitions. True genius has a price. And
thank you. I had forgotten about that.
And that's a comment that, maybe it has some truth to it. I think the comment of it will destroy games is a hyperbole. Like, if not saying that every culture is like this, but all games have their crunch time, and we know that some developing studios have a far worse crunch time than others. Yes, making games is a grueling process. Yes, it's really hard to do, but if you want to put in a 50-hour work week or a 60-hour work week because it's something you're really passionate about, that you want, and you really want to make it good, and if you just put in some more time for a couple of months or a couple of weeks or whatever, that you can make something that's really good, then of course you have the option to do that. But you nor anybody else at your company should be in a position where you are required by your employer for optional overtime to stay late, and they'll fire you if you don't do it. Like it's a little bit of like a culture thing, but like ultimately the reason that we have unions is because you can't trust your employer to just look out for you because they're nice. And it's like, like paying people has nothing to do with you liking them or whatever. It's like you owe them for your work.
Exactly. They've done the hours and have completed the task as agreed upon in the contract, whatever they signed up for. Pay them what they owe.
Exactly. It's like, to steal the line from Fences is like, you think that like, your boss pays you money, every 2 weeks because they like you?
That's a
No.
good reference. Good.
It's like they do it because it's like they have a duty to you to pay you. And similarly, you have a duty to them to work a reasonable amount of time. Now, the whole 8-hour workday, 5 days a week thing is basically bullshit that got popularized some 60, 70 years ago that we were just like, this shit sounds like it slaps. Let's do it forever. That whole thing aside, let's say that it is a reasonable thing to work 40 hours a week. That's it. Like that's all that you're entitled for. It's like once that 40 hours rolls over, it's like you can put on your coat and walk out the door and say like, "Hey man, y'all mismanaged our time, so this game is gonna take however much longer because we messed up." And that's got to be the answer. Like just because you want to stay late and work a 60-hour work week doesn't mean that you should think that it's permissible that everybody should work just like you do. Not everybody got the same kind of lifestyle. Not everybody got the same kind of options. Not everybody is, as committed. They want to make games, but maybe they're not so excited to work on the next installment of Farming Simulator 2023 or whatever.
Okay, here's what's funny too.
That's a real game, by the way.
What's funny about the 40-hour work week is that we got down to that from the insaneness that was happening before a lot of unions got formed.
Yep.
So it has been like the history was crunch was very, very much normal, and outside of that 40, outside of even just the gaming industry, just like labor itself. But like, and I haven't been a government employee, so I'm not current like. That's a weird thing, but not currently a government employee. I like when people talk about certain things getting accomplished. I would say, look, you definitely like you clock in, leave out, whatever. Like I'm not gonna be like you gotta stay, like do whatever. Like definitely not. And times I've been a manager, I've been assigned to manage folks, but like I also know how this particular office environment works. It ain't a lot that gets done, but that's actually not the other side. That's not even both sides at all. It's just more of like an
observation.
But I'm putting as an observation to say like we definitely could do less than a 40-hour work week and still get the
same amount done.
Yes, completely think we can do that because I have too 100%. Many examples in my head where we can get that knocked out. All right.
But yeah, whenever topics of unions comes through, it's like you have to understand like the history of unions is the way it is because you cannot trust the person who pays you to treat you well out of the kindness of their heart. Just because they're a really good boss. Because everybody ain't a really good boss, and they need somebody somewhere with rules to tell them how to be a good boss. And it's like you got to, and as the employee, you got to be a part of that rule set.
Yeah. Gosh, I was getting ready. I was teeing me up for an HR conversation, but yeah.
But instead of an HR conversation, how about an SONY conversation?
A Sony conversation. I thought you'd never ask. I wasn't there that night, but Steve and Jerry reported up. But I'm saying your first names. It's gonna mix in between the tags and the first name. It's just gonna happen. It's gonna be
yeah.
They reported on the Activision Microsoft deal, and I wrote up a little thing on the website about the implications of that deal. And that is a video games landscape shift. This next deal from Sony is big, Not necessarily to that degree. Not necessarily to that degree.
Not in the same price tag.
Not even the same price tag.
Half
One
off.
price tag was nice. The other one, this other one was good. If you caught my reference there. But there's something about this one that, like, did it cost the same? No. Does it hit different? Yes.
Mm-hmm.
So, Sony has purchased Microsoft's ex-game developer, Bungie, in a situation so awkward as literally a TV trope in sitcoms. For $3.6 billion, the $3.6 billion deal, again, comes right after the Activision deal. As far as the reporting we have from Sony so far, Bungie will still be allowed to make their own independent games. And there's as far as we can understand, that doesn't mean there's an exclusivity contract. So for the Destiny players that have been getting involved in that community, and the Witch Queen's getting like very close to being released, like it's a week or two at most. I don't remember the exact release date, but it's coming up very soon. And Bungie's been doing a great job on, it's been iterative of getting like cross-play between PC players and the Xbox players, and now finally Sony, so PlayStation players can play together. So like that mingling has been really great and awesome for that community. Thank you. February 22nd. Appreciate that. Just got dropped in the comments. Thank you, Undyne. Woo, woo, woo. Mm-hmm. I have been, I'm so behind on Halo, and I'm like, crap, I need to finish that so I can get on to Destiny. People have been trying to get me to play on Destiny. So as far as we understand, it's not going to affect that. But what I would likely expect is that, in the same way that Microsoft has talked about, there would be some games that will probably be Activision exclusive or Xbox exclusive developed by Activision. I would expect a similar thing with Sony and Bungie. And it's really going to be interesting who breaks first. What I mean by that, who's going to make the first exclusive? Like, who is going to be the one to say...
Throw the first stone in the glass house?
Yeah. Who's going to say Call of Duty is exclusive to Xbox? Like, who's going to pull that trigger?
I don't think they will. Because they've already kind of engaged in a bunch of what I'll call good faith gaming. Where they understand, like, they have a couple of exclusives here and there, but like for cases where like they're already trying to push towards cross-platform gaming between consoles, and not just like you could play on PS5 and PC, or Xbox whatever and PC. Like they're trying to complete the trifecta, which makes sense because like the more people that you have playing a game and are in a community, the longer that game's lifespan is, and the more that you can the more mileage you can get out of it. There's a number of games that have released on an anecdote, which I'll drop is what is that? What's that game? It's Armello. Armello's a game, like it's a fun PC game, and they released it on Switch, and the game has been out for like a while on both of those consoles, and they only recently, I think, are starting to work on cross-platform play. And both of those games, for both separate consoles, the communities are basically like dead. It is so difficult to get a game with people that you don't already know to like going, that it's like, if this game could have popped off if you had released it with, Switch and PC play, or when the Switch version come out, it was already cross-platform compatible, but you like shoot yourself in the foot because there's nobody playing this game anymore. Or there's the community's so scattered that like we're in such different day-night cycles that like we're never online at the same time, and it's still nearly impossible to get a game. So for the big companies with massive player bases, it's like it's even better. Like if you you have however many hundreds of thousand people playing on PC, plus the folks who are playing on console on 360, not 360, but Xbox Series, whatever, and PS5/PS4. All those communities coming together means there's that many more people playing the game that you can interact with, that you can hang out with, that will keep the like lifeblood of the game going. like for so much longer that it's like we don't really have an understanding of how much better it is for the gaming community because we've never been
Very
here
true.
before.
Yeah, this is uncharted territory.
Yeah, and we've been sailing towards it for a while, and we're kind of starting to pick. This metaphor doesn't make sense. We were sailing towards it for a while, and we're kind of starting to pick the fruit from the tree. I don't know where this tree is, but it's on a boat. It's very complicated. But like we're just starting to get there, and yeah, like both of these purchases by Microsoft and by Sony could be opportunities for them to turtle shell in extra hard and to just hoard games under their banners. I think in the long term, I think that's the wrong move for both of them. They could probably both do it and it would be fine. It worked fine. Well, given that
Worked fine for them, but not
I was
necessarily
about
for
to
the
say
consumer.
it worked fine for Sega. No, it did not. No, it didn't.
That's why I'm wondering about the blink. Who's going to blink first? Because Call of Duty exclusive on Xbox would be
that would be big.
That could be a console purchase shift for a lot of people.
It could be, but also like folks ain't got infinite money. It's like console these days. It's like you can't maybe you could drop what when the PS3 came out, I think it was like $500-$600. Like maybe you could drop, or was it 4 or 5? I can't remember. But it was
you're right because I think it was 4. Oh god.
I thought it was 5-6.
It was rough.
But it's like maybe you can drop $400 on the console of your choice and a bunch of games. But what you probably can't do is like, oh, let me drop $400 over here and then $500 over here and then buy these separate games. I need to keep these separate controllers and these separate storage devices and all this. Like that stuff is too unmanageable. If it got that bad, what you might see is people shifting more to PC. Wait, what did you say? I missed it.
I say, trust me, it is unmanageable.
Yeah, as Kenny gestures behind himself to those piles of video games.
Y'all know this isn't even the whole setup. It's stupid.
Oh yeah, I know. It's like my video game collection back at my mom's house is like spread between like 4 rooms. So
yeah, sorry. Keep going. I'm just like,
but basically it's like I don't think we're gonna go that direction in the long term. I think it would be damaging to one of them, more so than the other. I don't know. I don't. Given that they've already tried to like engage in good faith, like I think like they want to get some stuff under their bucket of like, oh hey, we if you give us Call of Duty, we'll make sure that this game stays over here and the contract is sealed and we're all still happy because we have something to offer you still. But like if it's one of them like is amassing power and catalogs and stuff, and it's just like, oh yeah, the only reason that there's games on your console is because we let there be games on your console. I understand that's not a position that Sony wants to be in. Realistically, this deal's been going on and been talked about for probably the same length of time as the Blizzard Activision deal, but they happen to be announced 1 week apart. I don't think like Sony got on the field like, get me another game. I need some game. I need Bungie right now. Like I don't think that they did that. Like once the Activision Blizzard thing came out, it wouldn't just be feasible. But like I think like they want to have some punching power, so it makes sense for them to be like, oh well, let's acquire some of our own catalog stuff, so we have some bargaining chips to play around with. And we're not, necessarily forfeiting the exclusives that we already have on our own consoles. Yeah. We want to keep those, but we can still be like, oh yeah, you can have whatever, and we'll keep those games over there. If that's okay, it'd be cool if you guys want to have this game because we got this other company. Everybody like Destiny 2. It's real popular.
Man, it's gonna be wild.
Hopefully not.
I mean, at least there's going to be more purchases.
Yes,
at least
I think so for sure.
And I still couldn't tell you how Game Pass makes money because I know the consoles don't really make money. Microsoft really has not made money on the Xbox gaming division either. Like they haven't like necessarily been hemorrhaging like in the red per se, but it hasn't been like a moneymaker. So like in my brain, I'm still wondering like, what am I missing?
Well, you got to remember, because we talked about this before. Like Microsoft isn't just the gaming division; like it's also the PC stuff as well. So it's like the stuff that you can get from the gaming community, the console gaming community, it are also things that you can be like, oh hey, and all this stuff is on the Microsoft Windows gaming store, and like building that catalog. And if that's like an extra reason, like Microsoft Gaming Store probably for you and I don't mean anything, but if you're like a little kid and you're playing on your family computer or whatever, and you're like, oh
True.
yeah, the Microsoft Gaming Store is where I go to get all of my video games, like, then you're probably like, wow, this is big. You got Minecraft, you got Fortnite, you got PlayerUnknown's Battlegrounds. Yeah. Your voice has to crack constantly when you're imitating a child. It's very important. But yeah, like, so if you're a kid and you have a family computer that you can game on, maybe the Microsoft Windows Store is where you primarily go, because if everybody's playing Minecraft, that's probably where you go to download it to. And like, oh wow, they have Roblox. Oh wow, they have this, that, and the other, and all that stuff kind of comes together and builds. I don't get Roblox. But I do now. I watched a video on it for like an hour, so I understand.
No, I understand.
Why just playing it.
The company upsets me.
Yeah, I know. But it's like, it's about having those things under your banner, and if those reasons are why your 10-year-old kid says like, oh mom, I want to get a Windows laptop because I want to play Minecraft with my friends, that's a whole nother reason.
Yeah, hold on. So I'm gonna address the chat. I'm gonna scroll back up. I saw that comment, Lindy Fitness. Just hold on a second. He had the audacity. To say, but he ain't got no beat 'em ups. I got Streets of Rage 4 right here.
Hey, my man. Hell yeah.
Game slaps.
Also, quick shout out to A Nice Cup of Tea. Armello is a really good game for casual, since it's like a lot of RNG. I like a lot of Armello. Brief plug for Armello, even though there ain't nobody playing it, and I can never get a game going whenever I'm trying to play, unless I bring people with me. It is a lot of fun. It's a very random game, but there's a lot of opportunities to find victory, which is, I think, a very appealing aspect of the game. Unfortunately, can never get a game of randos together because there's nobody playing.
Yeah. I'll even go retro, Lindy.
Hey, Fighting Force, yo. Fighting Force slaps. That was a fun game.
And there's more where that came from. So, also, at our mutual friend Michael Casal's house, he played, because I could not see the TV yet. I was over
your eye surgery. Yeah.
Death. Nope. I want to say Deathloop. Like, that's a game I have coming to the house. That's not what I'm currently playing. I'll figure. Hunt Down? Maybe it was Hunt Down.
Mm-hmm.
You play this bounty hunter that's going through in a very old school Streets of Rage style looking game, but kind of has like a cyberpunk edge to it. But you're like hunting down different bounties.
That sounds cool.
Yeah, it's pretty.
This counts as our throwback, by the way. This is our throwback, everybody. Don't bring this up at the end of the show.
Yeah, because I'm not gonna. I was not prepared for that today. Let's see. What else? We even got a.
Should we?
Linda Pettis says, "This sounds like an M. Night Shyamalan Netflix movie, referring to A Nice Cup of Tea's tree on a boat in the Wild West."
Nice.
Yeah, that does kind of sound like one.
It does.
Hey, yeah, if y'all post throughout the night, we definitely would try to get to them. Sometimes we get into the zone about a particular topic, but yeah, definitely try to get to
the zone.
And thank you everyone that's been joining us tonight. We got one last topic, but we're not gonna
kind of a quick hit.
Yeah, it probably could have been a quick. You're right, could have been a quick hit because we watched Jerry play. We did not actually play Pokemon Legends, and Jerry couldn't be on tonight to give more of his impressions because he definitely played a lot before jumping on the stream Saturday night.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it looks Looks like a lot of fun.
Kind of neat. The visual representation looks kind of like Great Value Breath of the Wild. But like it seems to have like this like open roaming battle system where like a Pokemon could be like, "Yo, I'm gonna fuck you up," and you can just kind of you can just like Jerry's just like running away, ducking into the bushes, trying to avoid like this random level 30 Pokemon who just shows up in the beginning of the game. And like, other stuff. So it seems to have like this cool open battle system kind of thing. It looks neat. Like I might consider getting it, probably not, but I might consider getting it. Like if I watch like a bit more gameplay of it, just so I can kind of pin down exactly what it is, because like, the last Pokemon game I played was Gold and Silver when they came out the first time. So this is a very, very different Pokemon game than what I'm used to. So if I can like pin down what it exactly is, might be for me. I can play a Pokemon game. It's been a minute.
Hold up. I didn't even know that.
I bring that up unprovoked all the time.
You ain't played a Pokemon since Gold, Silver.
Yep.
Crystal?
I know. Everybody's like, Crystal popped off. I was like, I was already on the Digimon train by the time Crystal came out.
Oh, okay. That's, hey, my first love Digimon. So I'm not, I ain't even mad at you, Playboy. But
any thoughts from you about Pokemans?
I want to go back and play a little bit of Sword, because to your point about graphics, visual style is okay. Even that's not necessary.
It looks like a little bit like a maybe not slightly, like a moderately more minimalist version of Breath of the Wild.
But it's weird. It's a Pokemon game. I'll eventually pick it up. And Jerry's going to do some good reporting on that. So I know he's got it. But it's just from what I saw, it was interesting that it didn't look as a smooth compared to what I'd just seen on Sword and Shield. So that was a little baffling. But again, I'll go back and play a little bit of Sword and just be like, and once I pick up Arceus, just be like, oh, maybe my brain was just not thinking about it. But I agree with you. It definitely looks, Breath of the Wild seemed crisper, and definitely seems like it's a downgrade as far as visuals from that. I've heard some varying things on the gameplay. Some people really loved it as a change up to the series, because people jokingly and rightfully so call Pokemon like advanced rock, paper, scissors.
Yeah.
And as much as you can do the EV training and different things like that, but eventually there's some things that just come down to, did you go first and did you have the right element picked?
Speed and type advantage.
So again, I love Pokemon, but there are some things that are definitely very true about that as a statement. Right. This, with the attack variations, as far as like having a normal attack, agile attack, strong attack, you gotta be careful, because regardless of type, if you pick a strong attack, just like in so many like fighting games or so on and so forth, it takes longer frames for that to happen, or the little speed that it takes you to do that is different than doing an agile attack. Or like, if you've ever seen like grab a Rattata that you have EV trained and have a quick attack where it's like, and it's just like boom, 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 boom. So that is.
That's why they call it quick attack. They don't call it slow attack.
It's like, why can't I go first? My Pokemon's stronger. It's like, but did you use quick attack?
It's like, maybe if you want, it's like, but he used quick attack. It's like, maybe you should use Swift then. I don't know what to tell you.
Oh, and Don agrees with us. Digimon over Pokemon Hill. I'll die on that hill. Yes. I agree. Totally 100%. Agree. Yo, look. Ash Ketchum, he ain't done nothing but not win all his badges and complete a league. Oh, sorry. I apologize. That's some Ash Ketchum slander. He gets his badges.
Ash Ketchum propaganda.
He gets his badges. He doesn't necessarily win the league at the end.
This ad was paid for by the office of Gary Oak. That's fucking good. Yes, Digimon all day.
Oh, man. Where's my backpack at with my Digimon attached to it? Where is it? It's around here somewhere. Yes, Digimon all day. And Jerry, as much as he plays Pokemon, and Ace Trader Jerry would also agree of how much he plays Digimon. Yeah. Oh man, thank you for that. That made my night. Got the man.
All right.
Paid for by the opposite. Give me Agumon or give me Dev. Whoa, we got some Digimon lovers in the house.
Hey,
Gosh.
let's go.
Yo, yes.
What's going down on Nerd Union this week, Kenny?
Well, we'll have a recording of our new movie podcast eventually. I'm still trying to finalize the name. Thanks for everyone that participated in that conversation on social media. Actually, it definitely helped out. So I got it mostly narrowed down. But so this week will definitely be a commandership show. Probably one of the last ones to do that. But we're definitely gonna have another movie show. I talked about some other topics I didn't have time to get to. State and Nerd Union is live on Monday nights, but we'll do some episode drops between the in-betweens during the week. Just some quick updates of things that have happened. We might find out more about the Sony deal and so on and so forth, what that means. So we'll definitely get that out, and I hope you all enjoy it. And on Thursday nights, the Quorum. That's our playoff of Battlestar Galactica's Quorum. It's been our weekly discussion group, meeting group on Discord. We're rewatching the Daredevil, so like the Marvel Netflix shows. We're on Daredevil episode 10 through 12. Watch those three. You come join us on the Nerd Union Discord, and we'll have a conversation about it. Goodness, it's toward the end of the episode. It's late at night. I'm getting tongue tied.
Don't worry, I got you.
And 7 to 9 p.m.
We had a couple more like news little bits that we couldn't fit into the show. Taryn Bell is going to have that tech news later this weekend with the Rundown, which is our weekly news wrap-up show that covers pretty much everything that we can't fit into these other programs. And we want to give a special shout-out to our Patreon supporters because we appreciate y'all's monthly contributions that help us run these live shows and our upcoming video series. Want to give a shout-out to Doug Schumann and Shelby Johnson.
Yeah. If you want to join us and support us on Patreon, definitely feel free to do that. But if you're new and you like what you heard tonight, at least hit a subscribe button on whichever platform you're watching us on, either Twitch, Facebook, or YouTube. That definitely
hit that subscribe, rate this 5.
Subscribe. I appreciate it. We definitely try not to do that too many times because I know it can be annoying if people are like.
The data says that you have to say it or else people won't do it. So
yes,
apparently,
but we will not beat you over we will not beat the dead horse the entire episode. That's just get a little wild.
Next episode, dead horse beating, episode 4. All right, y'all.
Did I see? Hold on, Jackie. Was Jackie on here? I think I saw Jackie join on here. Sorry, I saw the notification like. Hella late. I'm sorry.
Maybe.
Yeah, good friend from South Carolina. Maybe.
Oh,
cool. All right.
Alrighty. We did the thing. We did the thing already.
We did the thing, so we don't need to do the throwback. Okay.
Yep. So cool. Thanks for joining us tonight, y'all. Remember to subscribe to Twitch, Facebook, and YouTube channels for all of our live shows and upcoming video series on movies, games, and more nerd content. And with that, we'll see y'all next week.
We'll get the right
direction. Yeah, I did it the wrong way.
I had this.
Yeah, there we go. Hold up, wait.
Fusion.
Damn. Peace.